Hello everyone, my name is 𝕻𝖎𝖎𝖓𝖙, the doll maker apprentice. Welcome to my video. So I am here with my doll and my needle, and I'm going to be working on the doll as I talk about whatever it is I have to talk about. Now, something cool just happened. I found, because I was looking for, a list that I had written in June of 2016. I found a list of all these different topics that I wanted to talk about and share with my community and my audience. Now, at this time, I was building my private practice. I was probably 3 years into spiritual counseling and healing and building myself. And I wrote this big, long list of all these different topics that I wanted to share. And it just came out, it flowed out. And I'm looking at a screenshot or a picture of both these pages. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to come on and go from the top and nail all these topics from 2016 in 2023. So we're going to do that today. The first thing I have up here is being present with children. So if you guys don't know, I have 8 children. My oldest is in university. She's 22. I had her when I was 18, but freshly 18. And my youngest child is almost 3 years old. So I have been parenting for a very long time, and I have age gaps in between my children. So between my oldest and then my second oldest is about 6 years. And then between that one and the next one is 5 or 6 years as well. And then I go boom, boom, boom in a row. So being present with children is something that I struggle with and am also really good at, depending on, the day, like as are likely you. And what I found over the years of working with a lot of mothers and working just in my own process is that the more in tune we are with ourselves and the more we're looking after our own personal needs, the more present we're able to be for our children. Now, when it comes to exploring how we can become more present with our children, the one thing that comes up, and it comes up across the board, whether this is for me or for people I've worked with or whatever, is guilt can come up. Guilt because we notice that we haven't been present. And maybe we haven't been present for a very long time. And maybe we don't actually even know how to be present. So that's a thing, right? Some of us are so worried about survival, and just it's difficult being in our own bodies, in our own minds, in our own reality, that we don't know how to be present with another person, never mind our kids. And you guys, I'd like to say that that's rare, but it's not rare. It's not rare at all. Presence is not something that comes easily. It is for some people. Some people know how to do this very well or have had this modeled, but for a lot of us, it's not easy. Our brains are thinking about something else. We're waiting for something to be over so that we can go on to do, something that we desire to do. And the whole thing with presence is just being there, being in the moment. And for children, it's like, it doesn't have to be that much. And this is where we can go into, active, practical advice is we don't need to change our whole world and realize, oh man, I haven't been present. I need to change everything, shift everything, and get it together. This is actually a recipe for disaster. And perhaps you've tried it. Perhaps it's like when we go through our whole house and we do like this big purge and we're like, we're going to keep it perfect, just like this. This is never going to happen again. And it happens again, right? Whenever we try to go too quickly and too fast into shifting something, we regress, and sometimes we regress even worse because we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So the biggest thing with presence is stopping stopping whatever you're doing and looking around you and choosing in that moment, no matter what's around you, no matter what's going on, no matter what, I don't care how big the mess is, dishes need to be done, the kids got toys everywhere, dropping into that moment and knowing that the mess is okay, the dishes are, whatever the circumstances around you are okay. Just be and drop in. So when I'm talking about dropping in, it's a feeling. It's like taking your energy from the top of your head and like coming down to your sit bone, like where you sit down, right? And for some people, your root chakra, right? And coming down and just being. Now, this energy of just being is presence. And with your children, this is one of the most important things you can do. And it's with anyone, really. With anyone that you want to have a solid relationship with, even yourself. You want to be able to drop in. You want to be able to just drop and be. But if the mind is worried about other things and thinking, oh, I need to do this, or oh, I need to do that, we're not going to let ourselves drop in because we're distracting, right? So always, there's no shame. I say this to parents all the time. And even as a family preservation worker, I was working with families that had very difficult circumstances, children that were in the system due to not being safe and not being provided for in the way they needed to. Even in working with these parents, it's deep compassion. Knowing this very thing, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you are a 7-figure, 8-figure coach, or you are on receiving benefits from the government. It doesn't matter. We have very similar issues and problems. They just come in a different way, right? So I always find this interesting about motherhood, is I don't think there's a very big difference between any of us. And I can say that pretty solidly from being a teen mom to being a mom in her 40s, right? I just turned 40 in June. So I've experienced it, a lot of the different angles of what this looks like. I've been the single mom. I've been the single mom with 2 children from 2 different dads. Then I was the mom with another man having another baby. So now I have 3 children with 3 different dads, and I'm still not married to that man. But I happened to marry him afterwards. But it doesn't matter. The point is having the lens of seeing and experiencing and being in all of those different realities has really opened me to, we're not that much different. And maybe we like to separate ourselves and think, oh, I don't have those problems. I could never be like that mom. But the truth is, the same problems that I have as a mother, the young mother has as well. And even though my resources and my life is more stable and I have support, some of those same struggles that, the new teen mom has, I have them too. And I can relate and connect to them. So there's this whole thing of humility. Whenever you see a mother, anyone, like I really recommend this, like smile at her, love on her, even if it's just, seeing her in the grocery store and like looking her in the eye and giving her a loving smile. And if you see a mom struggling, or a mom that's clearly not looking after her children the best that she could, instead of judging her and snubbing her, again, like give her love, smile at her, tell her she's doing a great job, tell her how beautiful her kid is, something like that, right? This whole separation thing with mothers is terrible. It really is terrible. And you see it all the time. I've experienced it myself, as being the mother being judged. And I'm very careful that I don't judge, because the default programming for most people is to judge. And if I'm being really honest, for a long time, this is something that I just conquered recently, within the last 6 months, because of parenting at a young age and feeling unsupported, and in some ways not being supported in terms of, Shelley, you're a great mom, you're doing a great job, we know this is difficult, but more working with this energy of, I can do it better. Let me take your child. Let me show you what to do, and take over, which isn't really helpful, right? So my default for a long time was that I'm not safe to parent, that I need to be guarded on edge. So I had this like paranoia thing for like up until 6 months. It was deep, it was covered, but it was still there, this fear. And it took a lot of work to get to the root of that and say, no, like, I am safe parenting. I am a good mother. I do a good job. And even though there's things that I can improve on, and there's things that will always come up, we all have them. Every family dynamic has things. Please, you guys, do not think the perfect family exists. I've had hundreds of women in my office, and many times they've come in with these picture perfect scenarios of their childhood was perfect, their family life is great, it's supportive, and then the truth comes out, right? The things come out, the reality comes out. There is no perfection. We come into these family dynamics to learn hard lessons. And what does this have to do with presence in children? Well, and doll making? Good Lord, I'm just talking. What does it have to do with presence in children? In order for us to be present, we have to look at where we don't feel safe, because not being able to be present is directly linked to, I don't feel safe to be in my body, in my current reality. And we have to explore that and say, hey, is there a way that it could be safe for me to be here, right? One thing that I've taught for years, and if you talk to clients that I used to work with, they'll tell you, I would recommend for people, and I still do, I still recommend this, take the coffee table out of your living room. Take your coffee table out of your living room, set up your floor, and sit with your children. Sit on the ground with your children, eye to eye, making eye contact with them, and just be there, and just be present. It is the most transformative experience, and even if your kids are big, this is massive. If you as the parent sit on the floor instead of the couch, and your kids look around and wonder why you're sitting on the floor, you'll find that they'll come join you. They might ask you, like, what are you doing on the floor? This is weird. And you're just saying, hey, I want to sit here. You want to sit with me? And the dynamic shift changes. The dynamics shift and change. So I recommend that too. If you want to try something to really start connecting with your kids, you don't have to be the parent that plays with your kid. You do not have to be your children's playmates. You really don't. I've seen so many parents who are completely depleted because they're constantly playing with their children, where they're not looking after their own needs or their own requirements. They're just giving. And the thing about the children is they will take, and they will take endlessly without stopping until you, as the parent, stop. So it's not about, presence with our children doesn't mean we have to like be their best friend and their playmate, but it means that we are there. We are available emotionally, spiritually, mentally, intellectually. We come in if there's conflict. We come in if there's confusion. But we're also creating a dynamic where we sit in our own space, right? So there we go. Presence with children. Yeah, it's not easy. This whole parenting world and life is not easy. And I giggle. I really do. I really do giggle at the parents that really seem to have it all together, because they don't. And attachment parenting, especially in 2016 when I wrote this, was a massive thing. It's still a massive thing. They now call it conscious parenting or gentle parenting. But being in the natural world, I've seen a lot of these parents, and they're doing all the right things, and they're meeting all the needs. But man, behind closed doors, these parents snapped harder than any parents I ever seen. The passive aggressive, remarks because they were actually depleted from over giving, over meeting, over whatever. So I couldn't get on board with that. I'm like, no, this isn't what it's about either, because we can make mistakes and errors with our children, but we have to own them. So if I quote unquote lose my shit and I yell, for example, or I'm defensive, or I snap on my kid when it's really my problem, I just have to stop and say, hey, that wasn't you. Whatever I did there, that wasn't you, that was me. Mom is overwhelmed and stressed, and I am very sorry. That is not right, right? Taking ownership is way more powerful than trying to avoid conflict or trying to avoid these scenarios, because these scenarios happen in life all the time. All the time. Okay, so what am I doing here with this doll? I am needle felting this doll. I am creating the base of the doll, and I'm going to be getting her dressed right away. So yeah, I think that's my video for today, and I think that I don't know, I feel pretty good about talking about this list. All of this list, and like I said before, no, I didn't say this before, but I'm saying it now. I'll try to post it if YouTube will let me. I don't know if it'll let me, so that you can see all the topics as we dig into them. And I don't prep. I'm not going to prep for any of these. I'm not even actually going to look at the next one until I'm on it. Part of that's like fun and exciting for me. And another thing is, I'm pretty much an expert in this area. I really am. Being a parent, I started, not to like boast credentials or anything, but this is important. I started babysitting at 11 years old, maybe 10, right? And then at 14, I worked at the after school program. And then from there, I worked in different various childcare and, becoming a mother of my own roles. And then I went to school to be a child and youth care worker and went into family work before going into the spiritual counseling field. So, this is an area I know quite a bit about. And with everything I know, I still know nothing. So that's also, the interesting part of, it doesn't matter what our credentials really are. We still struggle, and we still have the same fears, worries, things come up. So yeah, there's no hierarchy. That is my video today. If you are interested with keeping up with these different topics and my doll making process, hit the subscribe button and make sure to like this video. And yeah, have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.